what is today's topic gonna be? Emotional resonance. When something resonates with you emotionally, or when something catches your eye or something like that. Aw, Bo, what are you eating? Come here, Bo. Come here, Bo. Come here. Come here, Bo. Come here. Come here, Bo. God dang it. Alright. Emotional resonance. When something resonates with you emotionally, Bo, don't chew, don't swallow that, please. He's like avoiding people.
That shit now. Drop it.
Oh!
Magnet. Alright, emotional resonance. When something resonates with you emotionally, and sometimes you have like an you've been living wrong, or you've been doing something like that you thought was right, turns out to be kind of messed up, I guess. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not basing myself on movies or anything like that. I'm basing myself on like, wow, everything just starts to click, you know? Everything starts to like, wow, everything starts to make sense. And also you need to like, sometimes you need to step back from emotional resonance because you don't want everything to make sense. Because not everything does. Just realize that whatever brought you to that moment is valid. Whatever brought you to that moment is real, and it's something that you tried to make for yourself, and you tried to do for yourself. Realize that your mind would have gone to that place at any time, but realize the moments that got you there, the moments that like right before got you to that emotional resonance or that emotional realization, there's something you need to hold on. Moments you need to hold on. Oh yeah, this live stream is not brought to you by the chimichanga that I just ate and the monster. So realize that when you're trying to make something true, when you're trying to make something good, emotional resonance can happen also. And I'm not saying you need to let go of those moments, but just realize that not every part of that moment. Realize that not every part of that moment was what you needed. It's just the thing that got you there. It's just the emotional realization that got you there. Emotional resonance. Be okay with yourself after. Realizing that there are much worse things outside of our borders, and realizing that there are much worse things outside of our world is something that people need to realize. But also too, realizing that the moments that got you to those realizations that there are things out there, and sometimes you need to care, you know? And that's not like gun up or anything like that. Anything like that, but I'm saying realizing that you're worth it, and
Citizens report a reckless driver in Western Fort
I went through a lot of
Santiago.
changes in my life. I tried to make sure that that I was ready for certain situations when I was younger. But also in the same sense, I tried to make sure that I was ready to like kind of guide those situations to a way that I wanted,
Suspect is on
to a place that I wanted.
Roger.
But that wasn't out of hate or it wasn't out of like selfishness. It was out of a want to for everyone to succeed. And sometimes people can be mean, I guess. Sometimes people can be
Suspect
stupid.
doing 90 miles per hour in a white sedan.
But realize that emotional resonance can kind of solve that. That when
Citizens
you're one with
reporting
yourself,
a reckless
when
driver
you're one with yourself,
on
realizing that
Fort
that
Santiago
resonance
approach road.
can touch so many things. And like examples, I myself have been through so many situations where it was like the end.
Ready to go! Anyone have a visual?
Situations where it was like
I'm up here, it looks like it's going south.
I'm not saying that like I'm better or anything like that because of it. I'm just saying that like I'm really thinking people would
Suspect
get me.
doing 50 miles per hour on Vancouver Barranca in Pompa Valley.
Realizing that when something resonates with you emotionally, when something resonates with you emotionally, there's more to the situation. There's a part of you that
Officers report a reckless driver on Pompa Drive.
there's a part of the situation that values you throughout the situation. There's a part of the situation where
Roger that.
oh, do you want to go outside? And emotional resonance happened when I was in situations where I was homeless and out on the street. Come on, Bo, get out. Go. You're barking. Go. Come on. Go. Go to the bathroom or something. But yeah, and not to say that I was like a bad person or anything like that, but realizing that things weren't that big of a deal and that I could move on through any of it. I was homeless for about 30 days, I guess. But
I need to
sleep
borrow
on the
your
streets
car,
for
lady.
doing nothing, and I didn't really know where to go sometimes. I had people, but I didn't want to bother those people all the time.
What is
So
this
I
shit?
would sometimes sulk and try to get rid of my own emotional weight and baggage. But realizing that that person didn't go through that, sometimes I blame them, you know?
Shit!
But as I was going through those situations,
You fucking
I realized
dick.
that it would be hard for me to blame them because they weren't going through the same emotional crisis that I was. And tired of getting judged, tired of getting guided in a certain stupid direction, tired of people like judging what I did or critiquing me in terrible ways, you know? So it's just, I still felt like there was more to me than just I'm dive bombing the car and doing. But realizing that realizing that through those situations I found my center. And shit, I almost went over there. But, shut up, Bo. But yeah, through emotional resonance, I was able to figure out certain situations were not that big of a deal, and I didn't need to bother with them. You know, sometimes I didn't need to bother with the people that were in my life. You know, and I realized they were bad for me sometimes, and also in the same sense, I realized that they were good to me in a sense. But through those situations, I realized that being better on my own sometimes is probably a good thing. So. I'm like thinking about getting my own apartment soon, so it's gonna be really good for me. Living on my own is probably gonna be pretty hectic, but it's also gonna be pretty awesome because no one's gonna be able to tell me what to do. I'll be able to take my medication the way that I want to, and I'm not constantly reminded by people that are constantly trying to distract me, I guess, from it. So it's not really like. Because that's what I do. I constantly think about other people when they're around me. I don't constantly think about other people, but like, I constantly think about other people and what they need or what they want. And I know it's not like something about trust or anything like that. It's more like I'm constantly trying to cater to the needs of others. And sometimes I can miss myself in the process. So I'm pretty happy that I'm doing that on my own. But that's where a piece of emotional resonance that I think is probably the best for me. Realizing that that I was hit pretty hard sometimes emotionally. I acted differently, I guess, and maybe it was just because I felt like I wanted to not care, but it was more like I felt like I wanted more out of life, you know. I didn't want to just sit down and like, oh my God, stop being so like just all over the place and stuff like that. No, I wanted to enjoy life, and I still want to this day. And I'm glad that I've kept that with me, and I'm able to do different things and say different things in this category. Emotional realizations, even I'd say realizations about things that happened to me when I was a young kid, and realizing that those things are wrong, and trying not to put it under the rug, and so those things resonated with me emotionally, that I faced my fears, and I faced them pretty much head on. So knowing that, I wanted so badly to just share with people, and it seemed as though that there were people that didn't want that, and I tried so hard to be able to make sure that I was emotionally ready when the time came. When the time came to know what I wanted as far as being successful, to know what I needed as far as being out there as a person, and to know what I really wanted in myself. And I realized that sometimes friends do things that you don't do. So, I mean, obviously, like I spent a lot of time around my family a lot. I wasn't sheltered or anything like that, but I kind of sheltered myself from what I thought friends would do.
Too close.
Or I thought what thinking what some people might have.
What, you don't see me driving?
I was kind of like shy as a kid, and I never really like, I never really got to hold on to anything emotional. Like my dog died when I was younger. My cousin died when I was 2, and knowing that anything could leave at any moment kind of made me afraid. And I was for a while. I tried to push. I tried to push through to certain values that I wanted. I tried to push through to certain things that I really wanted to do, and having those experiences were some of the like art contests and different things like that that made me feel better about myself, and realized that I had a certain talent, because I do have a certain talent, and I can pretty much draw anything, but there are times when I thought that wouldn't happen, you know, when I thought that wouldn't be going well, you know, like when I thought that like oh, nobody wants you to win, nobody wants to do anything, and stuff like that. It's like and I take criticism to heart too much. Like when I started off drawing graffiti, everybody else was drawing like the tightest stuff, and I was trying to get along, so I was like starting to draw like deadhead stuff, and like stuff that my dad knew, and books that I'd seen when I was a kid, and I hadn't really like looked into it as much as far as I really wanted to. So I started drawing stuff like that, and people were like, "That's stupid." It's like 70s stuff, dude. So like realizing that I was kind of stuck, I guess, sometimes, and not really feeling the moment, I would kind of act out, I guess. So not realizing that I was like not hurting someone emotionally like that, but I wasn't having any resonative thoughts, you know. I was just going through the motions, and it wasn't less of a thing that I wanted to express, but it was more of a thing that I wanted to get out, you know, a thing that I wanted to share, you know? and in sharing that, I tried really, really hard
Great Ocean Highway.
I tried really, really hard to get to
Citizens report 505 on Great Ocean Highway in Port San
the help of others, I guess. To get to where people would help me. To get to where people would be there for me.
Gray sports car.
But in the same sense, I wanted to be there for other people as well. Like, I didn't want to completely abandon people out there. There were certain things in my life.
Citizens report 505 on Fort Zancudo Approach Road.
And I had to realize that my family didn't sometimes really like each other.
Fuck out, will ya?
I had to realize that for a really long time. I didn't really understand it at first. I mean, because I was a kid, so when you realize that people don't like each other, you try to push people closer together, and you try to say that, well, I got a bobo, or I got something that you don't even take care of, and then you like hopefully bring them together as like a plan of trap, or something like that. Like you try to make yourself the center of attention, so everyone starts to try to forget about the reasons why they don't like each other sometimes. So, and that made a lot of my family move away from each other, and I guess it had more to do with what I thought it had to do with what I was at first, and not realizing it as I realized that it had nothing to do more than it had something to do with my parents and how they handled themselves as far as things, and it also had to do with my family. I mean, my family wasn't completely realizing that I had a lot of ground to work on. I had a lot of things to do if I wanted my family to actually get together and talk to each other.
Suspect last seen east of
I realized that
the Marlowe venue.
I realized that that I started to make things resonate with myself. Because if I didn't, then how was anybody else gonna get it? You know? How was anybody else gonna like figure out, oh, what is he all about and stuff like that, you know? So I just started like trying to really get things, you know, trying to really study hard and freaking do a bunch of different stuff and look up constantly things that I know about or things that I could know about. Basically, it pushed me to learn, and I think that's probably the thing that emotionally resonated with me the most, is the fact that instead of sitting down and thinking that I had no control over the situation, I pushed forward and
Dispatch, perfect sight.
I tried to be a better person, and I think that speaks kind of notions a little bit about what I really wanted to do with myself. And also I had bad relationships along the way, and good relationships that turned bad. And I don't hold any grudges. I really don't. It's really stupid too. So it's just I sometimes don't want to talk to that person completely. You know, I don't want to like constantly think that person is like gonna be there. I mean, and they say they're gonna be there. They always say they're gonna be there. But at like 2 o'clock in the morning, sometimes when you're feeling something like really raw, and like when you're sensing something really like emotional inside of yourself, who's gonna be there? You know? Do you want that person to be there? Do you really want that person to be there? Do you want that person who emotionally kind of like sent you to the wolves a little bit, or not really sent you to the wolves, but told you that it wasn't good enough, and said it wasn't going to work out because of what you thought. I tried so many times to just make something up to make myself feel better at the time, or to just get my mind off of what the situation is all about, because I've invested my time emotionally in things and problems with people, and sometimes I feel like I'm not good enough, or I'm not strong enough to. So I make up something like, oh, there's a bunch of aliens and they make jokes, a bunch of stuff, and then but their jokes can like be deadly, so like stuff like that, I've tried so hard to sometimes escape in fiction, and that's the reason why I don't read books anymore. Because I've tried so hard to actually, I mean, I can do that like on a whim. Like I can just go through my own little section of my own little mind, and realize that that there are certain things in people that like.
I got 7 of those, every color of the rainbow.
And I'm not like what's the word, diverting in any way. Like, I'm not trying to take a detour to like direct contact with human beings. I'm just
We have a civilian requiring assistance.
I just realized that if a person's angry or mad at me, if they hear something that's stupid, or if they hear something that messed up or something like that, and they actually start to say something, it takes them completely out of their game. It does. It takes them completely out of whatever game or whatever thing or whatever life they're living, or whatever emotional hurt they're feeling, and just like, it tells them, you know what, there's other things. There really are. And you know what, if like, there's other people too. And you're not the only one, you know? If you're going through problems, if you're going through messed up stuff, realize you're not the only one. And that resonated with me so much that it made me feel like I'm not gonna be alone no matter what I do, you know? I'm not saying that I'm like always gonna have like an imaginary friend following me, like God or something, because it's stupid to think. But I mean, it's my own personal opinion because of therapy and the things that I've gone through. I mean, if other people like to think that stuff, then that's completely fine with me. But I mean, but also too, realizing that people themselves can have emotionally resonating feelings, even if they're over something fake, even if it's over something completely fictional, or not fake, but completely fictional. Like, you can say like, wow, I learned this amazing lesson from something that's completely like fantasy, but it's like, it's just a lesson about life and how you shouldn't forget about the things that matter most to you. And that's what like the Neverending Story's about, and a whole bunch of different other stuff like that, like fictional stuff. And it emotionally resonates with you a lot because it has those characteristics that you're like, wow, it's like, it's really amazing. It really is. But there's also other stuff that emotionally resonates with you. But also too, that just sometimes stuff that just has a tone of like, oh, there's like dudes dying everywhere, and then like through that, this one guy's like really like into this girl, and she's like in danger or something. And like, no, it's lame. It's just, you're making up story as you go along, and that's what directors do. It's called a director fail. It's called, and also some people might disagree with this, but The Departed was not a good movie to me. I watched it like 5 or 6 times, and I was like, this isn't a good movie. There's no one that talks like that in the world. That Boston accent was terrible. And also, if it's based on a true story, then they fabricated the shit out of some of that stuff. Like, they just like, oh, and then there was a guy who fell down immediately when I went down this elevator. It's like, oh, it's like, it was funny, but it was like fucked up funny. It wasn't like dark funny. It was like, yeah, that's fucked up. It's like, yeah, a dude just died in front of you, and you just keep on moving. Like, just like, blah, you know. You know, and that's like some of the times that I've understood is like in like Syria and those other messed up places that keep getting bombed and shit, and people that are like terrible sometimes that, oh, I want to run this place, but I don't have any money. I guess I'll sell drugs to my own people and then kill them off and then make them have babies. And then tell those babies that their parents were terrible, terrible people who bought drugs and did a bunch of things, but they must really believe in religion. And in some cases, that's what some presidents did. But those people are dead now, and so that's pretty much. But I'm trailing off. So emotional resonance, things that resonate with me emotionally. Yeah, and it's kind of fucked up that that I would think that, but also to thank heavens, don't thank the Lord, because the heavens is just fake. So it's actually just it's a for the heavens. It means higher than where you are. So yeah. And in actuality, I kind of figured out some stuff about myself. Not through this, but through other things, and that's what I'm sharing. But I realized that
we have a visual. Moving to engage.
Citizens report
that nobody's perfect. Nobody's gonna be that person for you. You know? Nobody's gonna tell you that you're worth it, and then actually show up to your baseball games. You know. And that's not entirely true all the time, but only if someone's actually all the way there. And some people in my life weren't all the way there, you know, and not like emotionally, but sometimes mentally, and not really mentally, but like they were more over about themselves and making themselves realize the truth than anyone else, and it kind of is selfish a little bit. but it's also like, if you have a truth, if you have some sort of truth,
This bullshit.
if you have the best science experiment, if they could just do so much, what would you do? Would you rather spend money to make sure that no one else can find out about it and you can exploit it as much as you want when people do? Or would you spread the knowledge completely every single second of the day and try to get as many people to know it so it never dies? So that's sometimes what emotional resonance is like. When certain people have epiphanies and different things like that, other people do as well. And when certain people go through a certain amount of hurt or struggles or anything like that, those epiphanies and those things stay with them. Realizing that that if you have the information to be able to help yourself, and you have the information to be able to be a good person and the right kind of person, realize that just because something is going on around you doesn't mean you need to take advantage of that. Doesn't mean you need to take advantage of those things. You know, like just because someone comes up with the most amazing gadget and things like that doesn't mean it's for you. You know, it doesn't mean it's for you. You know, realize that those things need to be shared with people, and those things need to be noticed, because we're running out of ideas as a society. We're constantly seeking internally. Literally, I've gotten most of my anxiety from society and the things that are pushed onto people. Realizing that that you should want to do something about it. You should want to do something about yourself, but also realize that you should want to make something happen where not only you're the one being benefiting from it, but you should be helping people benefit from the same thing that you're actually seeing out. So that's the reason why sometimes I like to talk and I like to say these things while I'm playing stupid games. Not stupid games. This is actually a really fun game. So just riding around trying to hunt or stalk that motorcycle up there, and trying to see if I can get any closer. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get as close as I can, try to knock him off, and if I can't, I'm gonna get out and I'm gonna crank his shit out. It's gonna be nice. Realizing that that you yourself can make so many mistakes sometimes, and not realize what you're supposed to do in life. Damn it! All right. Oh shit. But realizing that what you're supposed to do in life, and coming to that epiphany very soon in your life, is very true and is very awesome. And that's what I think that people don't understand about themselves sometimes, is they don't realize that they could have that epiphany, they could have that thing that makes them just like run through everything and be able to live a better life. An emotional when something resonates with you emotionally, it's sometimes hectic to try to push it away. But when something does resonate with you emotionally, you should realize that that your life is true. That the things that you want in life are the truth. But realize that if you're feeling something completely negative, and you try to figure out if that's the truth, you'll realize that that you'll never hang on to it for too long without hurting someone or yourself. And in order to understand that just being, I mean, I'm not saying that like that I'm not saying that like that if you're a part of it, if you're not a part of if you're not a part of the solution, then you're a part of the problem. No, I'm not saying that sort of stuff. I'm not saying that sort of speak. I'm saying that there are ways that people lived a long time ago, and there are ways that people live now. And there are ways that people live in America, and there are ways that people live in other countries. But understandably so, government should not run everything. People should be able to understand themselves the way they want to understand themselves. People should be able to work for themselves. And when a government makes them dependent on something, or dependent on a future, then when that government, if or when that government doesn't exist, how will that person get along? People have to understand that everything is so fleeting. Which means if everything is so fleeting, then everything is so important. And also too, realizing that when that strikes you, whenever that does strike you, or whenever that you do find the perspective that you need to be able to realize that everything is so minuscule. That every single thing that you could possibly even think of is so minuscule in life. Every single car that you want, every single thing that you want in life, you're like, oh, you know what I really want in life? Is that new freaking Xbox or something like that, or that new freaking PS4. It's like, yeah, I got a PS4 because I worked for it. It's the only thing I fucking wanted. And then I realized that, you know what, it's not that big of a deal, you know? It really isn't, because sometimes I lost my phone, sometimes I lose my my shoes, you know, sometimes I lose my wallet. And then I realized that, like, you know, people didn't have to worry about that shit like a really long time ago, you know? People didn't even have to worry about even interacting with each other sometimes. Like, they didn't really have to interact with each other. But also, in the same sense, will that last? And the only way to make sure that lasts is if we all make it last. So that resonates with me emotionally so much, and realizing that just because we're on opposite sides of a debate, because debates are stupid, debates are dumb to me. They're dumb. They were just like, oh, well, how about this? I'm going to answer your question with this question. How about if there were no trees and then oxygen? No, grass makes oxygen. Every plant makes oxygen. That's the reason it gets its nutrients. So, what if there were no grasses? Then we'd be on a dirt thing, and it's still a ball of dirt. So, realizing that we have to treat each other though nicely is something that should be second nature. And if it isn't, then you should teach yourself. And not, like, I'm not looking down on anyone or anything like that. I'm not looking down on anyone for having a bad past or a fucked up situation that they went through. And they reacted a certain way, and or did something stupid, you know? But I'm not judging, and I'm not saying that's hard, but each of us go through our own emotional struggles. And realizing that the situation didn't have to bring the emotional epiphany out, but through that emotional epiphany, you should appreciate things more. And not just like, oh my god, I'm so happy now. Like, no, it's just like a fake elatedness. It's like an elatedness that makes you like I'm done with all my chores, yay! No, it's like everything that that makes you think that you did a great job. That's like your own endorphins in your own body going, you did a great job. Like that's basically what they're saying. It's like, you did the best. You're the best. And awesome, cool. I'm gonna steal that motorcycle. But first, I'm gonna shoot these cops. All right. Alright, gotta put helmet on. Safety first. Son of a bitch.
We are airborne and en route.
I don't give a shit. Oh my god. I wanna go on the thing. Alright, I'm taking the cop car. That's what it is. Alright, realizing that those things are, that emotional resonance, when something really resonates really emotionally, that's the only unity that we'll ever have in any situation. We're all individuals, but in our own ways, everything we do affects each other. And whether you want to affect someone because someone affected you, or whether you want to save someone in a situation that you went through because you were naive or ignorant.
Units reporting
Realizing that
505 north of the Marlow building.
that sometimes you have to let them save themselves is something that should teach you more than hey, I'm gonna constantly save people because I'm a hero and everyone else is weak and I gotta save the weak. No, people aren't weak. People can be very strong to do something. Women can pull babies from a woman picks up a car to save a child. People are stronger than they give themselves credit for. People are way stronger than they give themselves credit for. People are way better emotionally at handling things sometimes than they give themselves credit for. And just because they do hold things to an emotional standard or an emotional pathway for themselves,
This is dispatch.
realize that
Airport is heading home to the
three
visual.
different situations, we tell ourselves that we're weak. And the more we tell ourselves that we're weak, the more we're dependent on someone else. The more we're dependent on something else. Realizing that we don't need a certain thing to make us feel better about ourselves, but we need something to we need ourselves to make sure we're better about ourselves. Emotional realizations that I've went through throughout my life have helped me come to these conclusions. And no matter where we live in the world, no matter where people live in the world, they should govern themselves. But also too, in the same sense, realize that sometimes people have more information than you. Don't be ignorant, don't be stupid, and don't be dumb. Don't protest because you think it's a good idea, or you think you might have something. Protest because you believe in what you do. Protest because you believe in what you want. Protest because you believe in the idea that is set forth by the protesters. And also, don't vote ignorantly. I'm not saying that Trump was a bad vote, because, I mean, seriously, there are a lot of bad people out there. There really are a lot of bad people out there that were selfish and stupid and ignorant. And sometimes Trump is the catalyst to be able to make them go away. But also to remember that just because this election happened and there's no woman president or there's no like thing, it doesn't mean that it's the end. It is never the end of the world. No matter how many people try to say this is the end, they're going to be like, no, that's the end of your life. Okay, the Earth is like millions and billions and billions of years older than you, and it's going to be older than you because it's a sack of dirt. And that's what it does. It sits there and flies through the universe while you are attached to it, constantly detached from it. You're not gonna live as long as the planet's around. So realize that no matter how stupid conceivable ideas might seem, no matter how dumb things and people might be, realize that you're not a victim to them. Don't be a victim to yourself. And just because you're a victim in a court case, that's completely different because you have a valid argument. If you have a valid argument, then you're probably a victim of some sort of wrongdoing. But in that case, but going around acting like there's people around you trying to mess you over, or acting like everyone's laughing at you, because I've seen this happen to my friends before. People who I've been associated with. They've constantly tried to think that other people were talking about them, or if they were like a celebrity in their own mind. Realize that you're minuscule. You're minuscule, you're small. This universe is way too big to think about whatever bullshit they're thinking in their side of their goddamn mind. And sometimes that gives people the guns to be able to like ruin people's lives, but also to realize that those people have gone through certain situations that have made them think that way. And whether their parents, or i.e. their guardians, or people that they've been around with, or that they've been with, have make them done stupid things or dumb things. And sometimes their brain chemistry can get out of whack, or sometimes people can think things because of a completely mental area, and they don't like understand the concept that they're not the center of the universe. Or I'm not saying that they're not the center of the universe, because sometimes people are like, oh, it's not that big. But no, dude, stuff doesn't revolve around you yet. You're not a fucking planet. Chill the fuck out, right? So obviously, I mean, people can make you seem. People can make you. I mean, people given the wrong ammunition can fuck someone's world up so much, and just because they think they're there, they think they're good. They're doing a good thing, but when in actuality they're causing a lot of violence and harm. And I'm not saying that like, oh my God, people are the wrong way, or people are wrong. I gotta shoot this dude in the back. Almost got him. Wait. Son of a bitch. Oh man. There we go. Did I get him? Did I get him?
Citizens reporting
Realizing that emotional epiphanies can happen every day. That you can make yourself a better person, even if you're not a good person, or if you're not a great person. That just because you can be able to handle pretty much anything, if you just give yourself the credit. And if you don't give yourself any credit, then realize that you're your own enemy. Whenever you're about to go through a certain situation, or you're about to handle some sort of situation, realize that you have your own back, and you're stronger than you realize. As long as you lift with the legs, okay? Use your legs more often. Try to do a bunch of squats and shit, and then act like you're not gonna be sore the next day. Oh, that dude just pistol whipped the shit out of me. I was changing the guns. Why? Why? I'm gonna go for an hour, and then I'm probably gonna stop. But make sure you have with emotional realization can be expensive sometimes. I'm not saying that like, oh, you gotta pay for a therapist or something like that. No, you don't have to go to any therapist to realize different things. It just helps sometimes, and that's it. That's all. That's all they're there for. That's all therapists are there for. They're there to help. They're here to help you realize something. But if you only project something towards them to make them realize a certain thing about you, they'll make it to where that's everything. And no, and if you just want to prove somebody wrong, then why the fuck are you going to therapy in the first place? The only people that are helped are the people who want to be helped. Realize that if you don't, then there's no way you'll come to any emotional realizations. If you don't want to help anything, or if you think that you're emotionally dead inside, then eventually you will be. eventually that part of your brain will literally shut down. Like, you won't have any emotions. And if you've been doing a bunch of drugs trying to be able to suppress those emotions, realize that that's what you'll become. You'll become like data and shit. And you'll think that like cool things are funny, or stupid things are just like, oh, I have made a thing about my cat. Oh, that's amazing. You're like a 5-year-old. You're like a 5-year-old inside. And realize that that's exactly how a 5-year-old would act if they were that tall and that thing. They wouldn't understand. They'd be like, oh my god, I can talk, I can do many things, I can do amazing things. Well, I must be able to learn how to count, because that's basically what robots do. But little kids gotta learn it too, you know. So yeah, it's basically how a 5-year-old would act. So realize that also too, whenever you're out there trying to like make sure you're a better person, or trying to make sure that you're better at something, realize that with every physical activity, something you do, you grow emotionally. And it may not show up on a bar for like oh, you got your driving skill ups. Like yeah, you when you drive, your emotion, I mean your experience goes up. Like you with every single turn, with every single expectation, with every single expected thought, like, oh, that car is gonna come through to me. I gotta act evasively and stuff. Like, you change. So people change all the time. They don't notice it. They don't notice it because they don't look close enough while still being as far away enough to be able to control themselves. And I'm not talking about like some sort of power or anything like that. I'm talking about, and this makes sense because to being able to control yourself while still being able to pay attention to someone else, realizing that your emotions themselves can go haywire, kind of. Realizing that that when you're constantly paying attention to someone else's life, like say for instance you're paying attention to a celebrity, it's like, oh my god, that celebrity totally like ditched their girlfriend and then went with another girl and then blah blah blah. It's like you're exemplifying the things that people kind of do a lot every day, but also too that shouldn't happen every day. And if it doesn't, then I'm glad. But realize emotionally that everything is so, and I've said this before, but I mean it's minuscule, but everything is so finite that as much that you have to appreciate sometimes. I mean, there's so little time. There's so little time to enjoy anything anymore. People say that they go out to a movie experience, but sometimes people are always so critical that they don't understand that they should just be enjoying the experience and laugh at it if it's stupid. Not constantly think that, oh, this is a terrible thing and a terrible. It's like if it's stupid, know that it's still made millions of dollars, and that's a stupid thought, but know that they still had to make their money back. So they're gonna send a bunch of toys out, and a bunch of kids are gonna buy them. And then, yeah, that's it. Know that just because of your opinion, you can't change someone else's opinion, you know? Like, Siskel and Ebert died before they changed anyone's opinion. Or Siskel died. I think Ebert's still around. But, realizing that, there are just too many things in life to be able to be focused completely on just one. But also understand that if you have someone that caters to you emotionally and physically, because if you have someone that laughs at your emotions, that's terrible, you know? It's something you need to just walk out of. And granted, it may upset some people or make some people happy, depending upon who you're talking to. My dad thought it was happy because he thought that she was using me in the first place. Realizing that that
I know what I'm having for dinner.
realizing that those emotions can get through to anyone, and realizing that your emotions can get through to pretty much anyone, and realizing that if you're not allowing those emotions to come through, then you're denying a part of yourself. And if you think that those emotions are new to you, realize that if you haven't started that part of your brain, like I said before, those emotions, just emotions, literal just thought patterns, can hurt you. They can. They really can cause pain. Like, you literally can worry yourself into getting an ulcer. You can worry yourself into getting spina bifida if you tense up too much. So realize that you shouldn't take things too seriously. And I'm not saying like, oh, there's some sort of code in it or something like that, like, ooh, conspiracy theories. No. I joke about those conspiracy theories because it's funny. And because just because somebody believes something, or I've seen different things when I was on, what, MDMA. And just because I've seen different things, or seen different things in my life that reflected those things. It's just those are the lessons that you learn from that, and that's not validating the story. It's validating your emotions. Validate your emotions first before you validate any sort of facts around you. Validate what you think about what you feel every single day before you validate, oh my god, there's a spaceship in the air and that's not a balloon. So before you do any, people think that those are crazy thoughts, and I'm just like, you know what, it's not that crazy to believe that there's like an alien up there, like thinking like, hey, how should I like approach myself? Should I like wear something like, because they're pretty much focused on their image. I mean, they're not gonna be focused on like, oh my god, like, what should I say as far as like, should I like, no, they're gonna be focused on their image, because if they want to like seem peaceful and stuff like that, then they're gonna be like, oh, we have technology and stuff, and oh, we want to trade and everything. Like, it's like the only thing that would happen, and it wouldn't change anything in life. It would just change the amount of like people in the world. So even if you don't like certain life or something like that, you're saying that, oh, they're not from here or something like that. Like, realize that that's the epitome of saying that they are not from here. Like, if they were actual aliens, and like I'm not saying they're alien to us, but they're like called something probably. So you might not want to just call them aliens. It's gotta be kind of like a racist term, a little bit, because, or specious term if they melded with a certain animal, or ate enough of a certain animal to where that animal went extinct, and then they gained an ability or something like that, because that's how we kind of like started to evolve, you know. That's how we came about. So realize that shit first, and then come on with some sort of science bullshit, like, oh, you're not right emotionally in the head. Yeah, okay. I don't give a fuck. So go fuck yourself. It's called being stubborn. And it's called still don't care. So, but and yes, you can care about emotional things and still not care about what people actually come through with, because there's been so many different people that come up with the wrong answers. Realizing that that like, oh, I mean, they're on the right path, you know, but they just have the wrong answers. The wrong answers. The wrongest answers ever. They're just like, oh, I got, like, one of my friends who decided to not take his medicine a couple of months ago decided that there's metal in hot water and that's why it gets hot. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. But unfortunately, he's still my friend, and I'm still going to talk to him, because he's going to get rid of that idea in a few months and then come up with another idea, and then be like, and sometimes even though running through those ideas can actually get you to an epiphany faster than actually thinking about anything constructive. Because you're thinking about things that constantly like challenge your knowledge, like of what is going on, or what is new, or what is real, and I'm constantly doing nothing right now. But I'm gonna see if I can find a car. But you know what? All right. Wait, did I? Okay. Let's see. Okay, I pressed triangle for no reason. All right. All right. Trophies will not be awarded. Blah 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 blah. I don't give a shit. I want to do some tight stunts. But realizing that that an emotional epiphany in your life can happen at any time. If you allow the emotions to flow through you, if you allow emotions to actually be a part of your life, and instead of just acting like no situation exists and no situation is worth your time. Not saying that you should give in to other people's notions about you or anything like that, like saying that, oh, you're a selfish person if you have $1 billion. It's like, no, you're not. You just made a lot of money, whether that be legal or illegal, is all pretty much up to the time that you will keep it. But also realizing that that there are people out there that that are emotional. They try to erase your emotions and make them invalid. Realizing that those sort of people are out there is because they're emotionally inept themselves, because they don't understand emotions and they don't get those emotions. So if you ever listen, or if you are listening, thank you very much. And this has been Game Therapy with Joe Bomb Squad. I was going to run around in the field a little bit more, but I didn't feel like it, so. Have a good one.